Moving on to our, seems like, weekly update on redistricting, focusing now on the Florida Senate redistricting process going forward. It seems the best adjective to describe it is uncertain, and there'll be some unknowns that will be coming to the fore this week. We'll see some things play out. What are you looking for?
Well, as we sit here today, we're not sure how it's going to play out in the Senate this week, but the Senate reapportionment committee on Friday passed a proposed map in a 4-3 vote by party lines, and that will go to the floor this week. But I think the bigger picture is the divisions within the Senate, what happens with the House, and then what happens legally down the road. Totally uncertain what's going to happen. We've got even divisions in the Senate Republicans about the map that they are going to potentially adopt and move forward with. It is all, at least in part, wrapped up in a Senate leadership fight for president after the 2016 elections. This leadership fight has been going on for a few years now between Joe Negron and Jack Latvala. Both of them are trying to line up enough Republican supporters to become Senate president next year. And you know, the way these districts are ultimately drawn and who can run in them could influence that race for Senate president. On Friday, the Senate reapportionment committee met, and there was sort of an extraordinary event because Jack Latvala is not on that committee, but he got up at the committee and railed against the map that has been proposed by Senate Majority Leader and Reapportionment Chairman Bill Galvano. Basically, Latvala is saying this map is not going to pass legal muster. Why are we doing it? That's at least on the surface his argument. But I think there's a lot of speculation that he's trying to, worried that this map is going to work to the benefit of Joe Negron. So they've got to get a map through the Senate first. And then it comes to the House, which has just been sort of laying back in the weeds at this point, not really putting forward their own map. They're waiting to see what
they haven't even been in town, right?
They haven't even been in town. They're not going to be in town all this week. They were in town some last week, but they weren't working much on reapportionment. So they're waiting to see what the Senate sends over. If you recall, there was a congressional map. They had to have a special session in August, and the Senate and the House couldn't agree on that. So, it's impossible to know at this point whether the Senate and the House are going to agree on a Senate map. And then even if they do, or don't, there's always the courts are going to be out there. And, voting rights groups have been fighting the legislature over this map for 3 years now, saying it violates the fair districts standards, which are designed to prevent gerrymandering. And you got to think that these groups are sitting there watching every iteration of this debate, looking at the maps and trying to figure out ways they can attack if indeed they think the map is gerrymandered. So there's a lot going on here.
Is it fair to say that it's hard to take politics out of redistricting?
Well, I think that's probably the only certainty out there in this debate.
Thank you, Jim. For more news about Florida politics and government, visit the Advances section of our website.